October 1942, Guadalcanal, Pacific Ocean. Dense jungle, limited visibility. Japanese snipers control the battlefield. Marines are pinned down. Officers, medics, and radio operators are being picked off one by one. The Marine Corps has no standardized sniper program, no official sniper rifles, no formal training. But some Marines have an idea. They gather the best shooters, men who grew up hunting back home. They hand them standard M1903 Springfield rifles fitted with whatever scopes they can find. Some rifles have Lyman scopes. Others have Winchester scopes left over from World War I. Over the next few months, these makeshift snipers change the war. Stay with me to learn how. And don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more true World War II stories. Let me explain why Japanese snipers were so deadly in the Pacific. The islands were covered in thick jungle. Rain poured constantly. You could barely see 30 feet in any direction. Japanese snipers were patient and skilled. They would climb high into trees and tie themselves in place. They waited for hours without moving. They targeted the most important men, officers giving orders, medics treating wounded, and radio operators calling for support. When an officer fell, units lost coordination. When medics died, wounded men had no help. Fear spread through the ranks. Marines stopped trusting their surroundings. Every tree could hide death. The situation was desperate. In 1942, the Marine Corps had no formal sniper program. The Army had adopted the semi-automatic M1 Garand rifle years earlier, but Marines still carried bolt-action M1903 Springfield rifles into battle. These were the same rifles used in World War I. The Marine Corps had some rifles with telescopic sights. A very small number of M1903 rifles with Lyman 5-power scopes or Winchester 5-power scopes existed. These had been used in World War I for sniping, but there were not enough to go around. There was no formal training program, no doctrine for how to use snipers effectively. Marines heading to Guadalcanal in August 1942 took what few scoped rifles existed, but most units had none at all. The Corps was not prepared for what they would face. Marines adapted quickly. Officers identified the best shooters in their units. These were men who had grown up hunting deer, elk, or other game back home. They understood patience. They knew how to read terrain. They could judge distance and wind. These hunters were given the few scoped rifles available. Some got M1903s with old Lyman scopes. Others received rifles with Winchester scopes. The scopes were basic, often just 5-power magnification. This could be interpreted as Marines making do with whatever equipment they could find, combining their hunting experience with available military hardware. The improvised snipers operated without formal doctrine. They learned on the job. They studied Japanese sniper tactics, observed their patterns, and developed counter-tactics through trial and error. Based on what we know, we can assume they shared knowledge between units, passing along lessons that saved lives. The early counter-sniper operations on Guadalcanal were dangerous work. Marine snipers moved carefully through the jungle, often alone or in pairs. They watched for any sign of enemy snipers, a glint of metal, movement in the canopy, or the muzzle flash from a shot. When they spotted a target, they had to make a decision fast, take the shot or wait for a better opportunity. A missed shot revealed their position. Japanese snipers would immediately try to locate and kill them. The work required extreme patience. Snipers sometimes waited hours in the same position, barely moving, scanning the trees. The heat was unbearable. Insects swarmed constantly. Rain soaked through everything. But they stayed focused. Lives depended on their success. By late 1942, the improvised sniper efforts were showing results. Japanese snipers became more cautious. They moved positions more often. They took fewer shots. The psychological effect was important. Japanese snipers realized they were being hunted. Marine casualties from snipers decreased, officers could move more freely, medics could reach wounded men, units operated with more confidence. The jungle was still dangerous, but Marines had found a way to fight back effectively. This success caught the attention of Marine Corps leadership. They realized sniping needed to be formalized. They needed better equipment, proper training, and clear doctrine. Based on what we know, we can assume discussions began about creating a standardized sniper program. In late 1942, the Marine Corps began developing a proper sniper rifle. They selected highly accurate M1903A1 rifles from their national match and special target inventory. These were rifles built for competitive shooting, known for exceptional accuracy. They paired these rifles with 8-power UNERTL scopes. The UNERTL was a target scope used in civilian shooting competitions. It offered much better magnification and clarity than the old Lyman or Winchester scopes. The combination created one of the most accurate sniper rifles of World War II. The first UNERTL-equipped rifles were delivered in late 1942, but didn't see significant combat use until mid-1943. By then, Marine snipers had already proven the concept worked. The new rifles made them even more effective. With better equipment came formal training. The Marine Corps established sniper schools. They codified the lessons learned on Guadalcanal. Patience, fieldcraft, and marksmanship were emphasized equally. Snipers learned to move silently through jungle terrain. They studied camouflage techniques. They practiced judging distance without rangefinders. They learned to read wind and compensate for humidity. Most importantly, they learned to think like their enemy, anticipating where Japanese snipers would position themselves. The training produced highly skilled operators. By 1943 and 1944, Marine snipers were among the most effective in the Pacific. They routinely made shots at 600 yards or more. Some exceptional snipers achieved kills at 1,000 yards. This could be interpreted as the culmination of experience gained through early improvised efforts. Marine snipers changed combat in the Pacific. Japanese forces had to adapt their tactics. Snipers could no longer operate freely. They had to be more careful, more hidden, more cautious. This reduced their effectiveness dramatically. American advances became safer. Units could maneuver with less fear of hidden shooters. Amphibious landings included dedicated sniper teams to clear tree lines. Every major Pacific operation from 1943 onward used Marine snipers as a standard part of the force. The program that started as improvisation became doctrine. What began with a handful of hunters using old scoped rifles grew into a sophisticated sniper program that influenced American military tactics for decades. The weapons continued to evolve. Some Marines acquired Winchester Model 70 rifles, civilian hunting rifles known for accuracy. These were used unofficially in some units, particularly by experienced hunters who preferred them. The Marine Corps also used M1903A4 rifles, which were Army sniper rifles with Weaver scopes. By the war's end, Marines had multiple sniper rifle options. The M1903A1 with a UNERTL scope remained the preferred choice for many. It could group shots within 3.5 inches at 600 yards with match ammunition. Even with standard ammunition, it maintained excellent accuracy. The diversity of weapons reflected the Marine Corps' practical approach. If a rifle worked, it stayed in service. Effectiveness mattered more than standardization. The lessons from Guadalcanal shaped American sniping for generations. The importance of proper training, quality equipment, and sound doctrine became clear. The Marine Corps maintained its sniper program after World War II, while the Army largely abandoned theirs.
When the Vietnam War began, the Marine Corps had experienced snipers and institutional knowledge. The Army had to rebuild its program from scratch. This could be interpreted as the long-term impact of the decisions made on Guadalcanal in 1942. Marine Corps sniper schools continue today, training some of the military's most skilled marksmen. The program traces its roots directly back to those improvised hunters on Guadalcanal who proved sniping could win battles. This story teaches us about adaptation in war. The Marines on Guadalcanal faced a problem with no official solution. Instead of waiting for the Corps to develop doctrine and equipment, they improvised. They used the skills they had, the equipment available, and learned as they went. War rewards thinking. It rewards adaptation. Sometimes the best solution is not the official one. Sometimes you have to make do with what you have and figure it out. The hunters who became snipers on Guadalcanal understood this instinctively. Their improvised approach saved lives and changed how America fights wars. That legacy continues today. From improvisation to institution, from hunters with old-scoped rifles to a formal sniper program that changed the Pacific War, the Marines on Guadalcanal adapted when no one else had an answer. So I want to ask you, should military forces always wait for official solutions, or is adaptation under pressure more valuable? How important is individual skill compared to standardized training? Comment below with your thoughts. If you enjoyed this true World War II history, like this video. Subscribe for more real war stories. Comment about what surprised you most. Thanks for watching.